What would you like to do now, Vera? And afterwards, what are you going to do next year? That you would have $100,000.
Yeah.
What would you do with it? How do you feel? How's your appetite? You must be feeling very lonesome, being alone so long. Are you?
Yes, I was lonely, yes.
Why are you smiling? And what would you like to do now?
Probably it's time to go back for lunch, huh?
You just had your lunch. Huh? How long ago?
Half an hour.
Half an hour. Are you hungry again?
No.
Well, let's go anyway. Perhaps we get a cup of coffee.
Yes?
All right.
There's some abnormal activity going on that I just want to make everybody aware of with some warning signs. Have you recently suffered from forced memory blanking? Perhaps you've noticed erroneous actions taken by yourself. In normal times, you may have seen induced changes to hearing. Do you hear things from directions in which they are not? Do you hear things in volumes that are not appropriate? Do you hear things that are, in fact, not really there, and you can tell the difference? It's important to watch out for forced manipulation of your airways. This can include what's commonly called postnasal drip, congestion, increased use of nasal sprays. If you've noticed sudden violent itching inside your eyelids, or a wildly racing heart for no apparent cause, perhaps you've had violent itching without a rash. This often occurs during delicate or important work. Note, the first successful transmission of the human voice directly into the skull of a living person was performed by Joseph Sharp of the Walter Reed Army Research Center in 1974. He transformed a hypnotist's voice using the Lowry silent sound or Smirnov scramble.
Their manner is childish and they are gawky. They show little or no initiative and spontaneity. If they do react emotionally, their reaction is often inappropriate. They have, of course, no real plans for the future. In spite of this general impoverishment of their personality, many of their intellectual functions remain intact. Memory and orientation are not impaired. The patient we are going to see is about 40. She has been sick for more than 10 years, lives quietly in the hospital, doing simple work in the laundry.
Without leaving any evidence.
She seldom speaks unless spoken to.
Some ways to tell if you've been affected might be rigor mortis in the limbs,
and her lack of
a feeling of pins being pushed into your flesh, wild flailing of the arms, forced orgasms or intense pain. You'll notice stimulation in the genital area at times where it's not appropriate. Violent rashes, neurocontrol. If you're sitting barefoot and your toes bend backwards by more than 90 degrees, this can happen one toe at a time over a period of minutes. You might experience overheating, all over body pain, forced caffeine fields around your person, forced drop in your tracks sleep inducement, irresistible go here, go there commands, microwave burns upon your arms or legs. Many test subjects experience frequent break-ins or frequent enterings of inappropriate spaces around the home or at work. Clothing, furniture missing, business papers changed, computer files sabotaged, works of art modified or stolen, for your use of diagnosing your children and or friends, family, relatives, and co-workers. Keep in mind this feedback, disparity, and repression. Be aware of neuroelectromagnetic frequency assaults. This can be done using a steady tone of 15,000 hertz. The hypnotist's voice varying from 300 up to 4,000 hertz. You modulate these together. You put them through a transmitter. The output and reception. Inside the patient's head, it will appear as nothing more than tinnitus. Each vertical line plus one short pulse of a microwave signal. The brain then converts these microwave pulses back to an inaudible voice. There is no conscious defense possible against hypnosis of this time.
Do you see a negative or a positive on my hand?
Well, it's a sort of an ethereal negative, if it is.
Ethereal negative?
Well, it seems to have a nimbus around it.
A nimbus around it?
Yes, red, violet, blues.
Now open your eyes and look at my face. How does my face look to you at this moment?
All right.
You don't see anything
A lot
strange?
of yellows.
A lot of yellows?
Yes.
What else? All right, now...
A lot of greens. The background is moving into your face. I don't know how much I'm seeing or how much I'm pretending to see, because all of a sudden I see you sitting there and I don't see the background at all.
Oh, then you see here some kind of a split.
Yes.
Between what you know you see and what you feel you see.
Yes, I feel as though that I've had a sort of an entrance into emotional life, and yet I can't feel, I'm sort of anxious about the reality of it.
This is therefore a split between thought and feeling, is that correct?
It seems to me that there is that, yes.
Mm-hmm. Now when you look at your hands, do as I do, close your eyes and just concentrate on your hands. Is there any difference in its weight, in its substance?
This one seems heavier.
The left one seems heavier?
Yeah, seems more positive.
Than the right?
Yeah, this seems more, there it is, I feel these lovely colors vibrating all over me. Oh, it's lovely.
Any lines?
Oh.
Any forms?
Just like the shimmering of water, you know.
You can put your hand down now. Come on, describe it. You feel happy now? Do you feel happy?
Yes.
Well, you must be, because you have tears in your eyes.
Oh.
Is that a beautiful experience, would you say?
I would say yes.
Describe it again.
Oh, I don't know. It's just giving and...
You're doing fine, just try to describe it.
Oh, you don't know, you want to give yourself, you want to give yourself as much as you can.
What happens when I do this?
A report directly from the front lines. This extract was from Lobster Magazine number 30. I live alone in a small country college, and therefore I'm a sitting duck for technological and psychic attacks. MI5 started forcibly blasting me with toxic radiation. At first, I didn't realize they were using remote control frequency weapons, or that they had their sights on my physical body. I wrongly imagined there must have been machines planted outside my house. They radiated me sometimes directly in my head, other times in a line right down the center of my body, sometimes just completely. Frequently, I was made to feel like my body was being dragged to the ground by a great weight. I assumed that I was going to be badly damaged, perhaps killed. I think, in reality, it was their attempt to run me from the country. But for some unknown reason, they seemed to have changed their mind. Instead, they've chosen to torture and blackmail me. They're trying to push me into submission. They're using remote control, effect, and manipulation of human being technology, RCEMHBT. I'd like for it to stop, but I'm convinced that it will not. I hope you'll see this as a warning. Later on, after I'd come back into the country.
What do you mean?
I feel very benevolent. I mean, I feel as though I have no enemies in the world, and this is very lovely.
Do you feel
very fragile, delicate, lovely. And it goes and comes, you know. I mean, that one state there that was, I never experienced anything like that. It's marvelous.
On the whole, do you feel happy, or do you feel...
I feel so happy.
What happened to this feeling, messianic feeling that you described before?
I feel that it's, if that's what I described, I feel that it's very valid.
Yes, but do you still have it as strongly now as you had before, or is it weakening?
It's weakening, I suppose, or it's becoming more well-defined, I suppose.
Do you have the general feeling, though, that you're coming down to earth, so to say?
Yes, I do.
I started getting these attacks, and I felt the main focus was getting me to shut the hell up about Windsor Castle. They were terrorizing me, cutting sensations right in the middle of my brain. I could feel and I could hear them verbally saying that I was having a lobotomy over and over again. This feeling of total dread at the words Windsor Castle. They were pounding me in my brain, just saying, never mention Windsor Castle again. They were attacking what was most important to me, my mental capacities. They were creating physical effects directly inside my head, mental and physical. I believe they still could, if so desired. I believe they still could using magnetism, if so desired. They dragged mucus and moisture up to the top of my head from my sinuses, pulling them into my brain cavity. This caused pressure, and they used this to manipulate the tubes in my forehead. It caused so much pain that I felt they were going to burst my clairvoyant bubble that I'd been operating within. Eventually, they did something which caused my right eye to close for 3 days.
She complains of auditory hallucinations, voices, and strange feelings of being controlled by unseen forces, though these are not especially common symptoms in the simple type of schizophrenia.
And how long have you been here?
I think that'd be 14 months in December, beginning of December.
In this place?
Yes.
You like it here?
Yes, I like it when it's quiet.
You like it when it's quiet?
I find it too noisy, all those patients.
Sometimes it's noisy here because of the other patients.
Probably.
Why do you like it better when it's quiet? Have you always liked it quiet, or?
I've been used to living where it's quiet, except for the railway.
You told me once that you didn't like the radio.
Yes.
In the hospital.
I was unhappy when they brought the radio.
Why?
The ward was quieter without it.
Well, if you're very quiet, what are you doing? Are you reading, or are you thinking?
I'm not reading either.
You don't like reading? What are you doing?
I think music's better. Listening to music and not talking.
You like that?
Music is the best, I think.
Vera, you told me another time that sometimes you hear voices talking to you, can't see the people. Does that happen often?
Yes, I think it's all day.
All day?
Yes, I don't think my head's ever been free of anybody talking.
Can you hear them now?
Since I was a young girl.
Can you hear them now?
It's quieter now.
Or will be quiet.
And I can talk, huh? And I can talk without them.
You can talk without whom?
They take away my talking.
The voices?
Yes.
How do they do it?
I don't know.
Can you tell me what they're saying?
I don't pay any attention to what they say.
But you understand them. Why did you come here, Vera?
My response, of course, as you know, was to publicize all over Facebook the Windsor story. I exist within an underground network of environmental activists, and we've created this entire scene for our protection, but the spiritual bubble can be transmuted by means of microwave energy. They kept distracting me with more RCM, HBT, experimentation, and obstructions, blasting me with radiation, filling my stomach with electricity, manipulating my bowels. One cruel experiment. They sedated me. They sedated me and made 4 electrical connections. They joined these points vertically with 2 currents and penetrated my head by about 2 centimeters. They blew the neural network right out of the front of my mind. Then they cut off the sense of taste, then smell. They told me if I didn't shut the hell up about Windsor Castle, that I would never smell or taste anything again. Well, I've regained my hearing. I've regained my sense of smell. I've regained my sense of taste. But I was so extremely sedated I could not get out of my chair, and I could not reach the remote control or my phone or food or drink for hours.
Are you still sick?
No, I'm much better now.
But you like staying here?
Next, I suppose, is when they decided to take me out for good. I was already quite frazzled. These ridiculous, unending attacks. Electricity started entering my body at the 4 points, but I could tell they were microwaves. They were targeting my brain and my testicles. His internal organs started to heat up and hurt greatly. I was being cooked and sterilized. In vain, I tried to get out of the range. I got into my car and I traveled 10 miles away, but distance made no difference. I tried to minimize the injury by attaching my head to the back of a radiator, and that drew some of the radiation away from my body. But it was during this that they told me, "We don't like druids and we don't want any more." I could tell they were increasing their sadistic enjoyment of this. The secret services were involved. I believe they too are deeply Masonic. Grievous bodily harm doesn't count if there's no broken skin, you know.
Have you seen your family lately?
No, I haven't.
But aren't you feeling lonesome?
Yes, I was wishing I had a visitor.
They haven't seen you for a long time?
No.
Have you written them?
No, I haven't. I don't like writing letters.
Did they write you?
No, I haven't received any letters either. No.
Think you might have a visit soon?
Well, possibly if I'm good.
You know what day it is today?
No.
You know what time it is about? That's quite right. 10 minutes past 12. Did you see the paper today?
No, I haven't.
Why not? Don't like reading?
I like magazines. I hate magazines. See my head up there?
Hmm?
In my head up there?
What
my head
head?
goes up there when I'm quiet.
Where's it going?
When I talk.
Where's your head going?
I was a medium because of my knowledge of astrology and so forth. Also, I'm a member of a population unique to Earth that does not respond normally to ECT. For us, it serves to speed up rather than slow down thought processes. I have no evidence to present to the court about the ultrasound photographs that they took that day, but I know that they are rude, vain, and indecent. The Secret Service have succeeded in making me barren, but the speed at which my brain operates, I now understand what they are up to on a global level. Diary extract, August. Someone was very badly trying to murder me last night. When I was driving, they were making me hallucinate and nearly pass out. The pictures they were putting in my head blocked out the view of the road or the grip on the steering wheel. They were changing the focus of my mind. There's been a strong electromagnetic block for about the last week, which has seriously hampered my feelings, my imagination, my sensitivity, my awareness and psychic abilities. I'm being horrendously normalized to the torture. This is against their plan, but it has made me bear it better than I had before. Minimal level of thoughts that I'm working with here are often jammed by radiation or expressed with an external rhythm to my body. This restriction has left me unable to read books. It will not allow me to do the mental exercises that I used to do daily. And since I have no feelings, emotion, or sensitivity, I cannot love. In addition, they've used torture programs, often on the permanent setting. They want me to suffer. And if they get their way, they will never let me be a practicing druid.
And I feel as though there's some very definite driving meaning in it, and there's a spiraling arrow going to its mark. And I feel that everyone here is conscious of that feeling.
Is it some sort of an influence?
Yes.
One more question. You heard that before. Do you wish like eating something, or you rather forego it?
No, thank you.
Fine. Thank you.
You like it here?
I like it when it's quiet.
He's now flying high. We're getting ready for the second drawing. Please note that he does not see the difference between the two pictures. How long ago was it that I gave you this draw?
Well, at this time I don't have any conception of time passing. I mean,
well, make a guess.
Let's see. See, I can't make any guess at all, really. I mean...
Well, what time of the day do you suppose it is?
About 3 o'clock.
About 3 o'clock. Well, you're only 1 hour wrong in this instance.
But didn't you say that before?
Well, at that time, too, you were 1 hour wrong.
That's, it has...
Drug has still a good effect on you. It would be important that you would now...
Isn't this going backward in time, like a mirror repeating itself or something?
Well, if you feel that way, it does. Anyhow, what I would like you to do now is to draw another picture of Paul, just like you did before. And while you're doing that, if you want to say something, you go right ahead.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
How does your left arm feel while you're doing this?
It feels very good. Feels fine.
You still have that pleasant feeling that you described before?
Yes, I still have it. I'll never get over it. it's something I'll never be the same.
What do you see here?
I see a lot of gentleness.
And what else?
Real beauty.
Poor metals, 95% stupid and growing because the human brain is getting smaller without space machine. This is the beginning of IWW. You're trying to black the oceans. 95% black guys kill 5% blondes. Next year means 3%. End of humans. You didn't build the space machine. We must stop the TN war. You're going to finish Atlantis for sure. You were on the cores, like dolphins. You didn't build space machine. We can teach you, but you must change the tops. The artist, top of the industry. Produce good brains, not just for the money.